Hey guys, I'm Jax and this is my review for HotD. Now I don't have to tell you what those letters mean, but just to be clear, just so there's no confusion, I of course mean that this is my review for this hot Dorito. Now I know what you're thinking. What is this stupid video? A hot Dorito? That is clearly a cold Dorito. What are you talking about? Yes, unlike most of my HotD reviews, this is not a temperature-based HotD food product. No, this Dorito is just very sexy. Yes, it's a hot Dorito in the sexual sense. This is definitely not a lazy review because I didn't want to go outside and buy some kind of hot product that starts with a D. I genuinely think that this is a very hot Dorito in the sexy sense. So how does this HotD stack up? I mean, it's a Dorito. It's obviously a 5 out of 5. So this week on HotD, we focus on the common folk and the potential dragon riders. So Budget and Aries is like, hey, you Kingsguard character that has probably been in every episode of the show that Jax is only just now realizing exists. I bestow on you the honor of being like, I don't know, 1/20th Targaryen, so you can ride the dragon. And we get a dragon taming scene that very much reminds me of that guy from A Dance of Dragons, the book. You know the guy, I won't say his name, but he meets the same fate as our Kingsguard character, and I very much enjoyed this. As soon as he said he'd do this, I'm like, well, the first guy isn't going to succeed. You got to fail once, then one of the bastards that we've been following, they'll obviously all succeed. One of them does this week. So we've got to have one guy fail first. I really like this scene. It was utterly delightful. Has a man ever been more dead before he died on screen ever before? The answer is no. This man was so dead. He was just so dead as soon as the idea came up and he was the first one. And he's just some guy and not one of the three main characters we've clearly been following, setting them up for this plotline. And so he rocks up and there's a bunch of, I don't know who they are. They're like dragon taming experts, I suppose, and they're all standing around him with the dragon, which I felt like, just straight off the bat, I'm like, is this how everyone does it? You've got like 4 other guys who are just like poking with sticks, being like, obey, obey, be this guy's dragon rider, or dragon for this dragon rider. And it just seems kind of an odd ceremony. Like, is this how every character has done this? Where you've just got like 6 random guys who are just standing there poking the dragon with sticks and yelling at it to like obey this one guy? I don't know, it just seems really weird. Like, wouldn't it want it to be more personal, more intimate? You know, like Harry and the Hippogriff, where it's just like 2 guys and he looks at the dragon and they look into each other's eyes and they bond and the dragon smells that they're Targaryen and the dragon's like, wow, like, I'm not racist. Don't think that I'm racist because I'm a dragon. But obviously I'm only going to let this one bloodline, this very pure bloodline, ride me. That doesn't make me racist. They're just better than everybody else. What I'm trying to say is that it's become very clear to me that dragons are racist, and that's not okay. And so all these other guys are poking it and prodding it, and the dragon's like, I'm a big dragon. And he's like, I did it! And at that moment, I realized not only was he the most dead man that's ever lived before dying, he was in fact going to die right now. And he lights him on fire, and it's utterly delightful. I am here to see dragons roast people alive. What can I say? I'm a child at heart. All I want to see is giant, monstrous animals light people on fire as they scream and then grab knives and slit their own throats so they don't burn to death slowly. It's just it's what dreams are made of. Though in all seriousness, R.I.P. that Kingsguard guy. There was 100% in other scenes in this show, and I definitely remember him being in the show before this one scene. 100% yes. R.I.P. that guy. So this week, Aegon wakes up and has a confrontation with Aemond, and he's like, I don't remember anything, bro. I blacked out. He obviously remembers all of it, and he's like, my brother's crazy. He tried to burn me alive, but he only burned half of me, and now I've got a beautifully symmetrical, Two-Face style burn situation going on. Horrifying. It just looks so gross to look at. I kind of feel like, and I don't know, I just think it would be a really interesting visual if somehow the dragon had burned him so badly that his armor had like kind of melted onto his body, and they're like, if we take the armor off, he'll die and like he'll bleed out, or I don't know, something science or whatever. Just say words and just make it a thing. And he's like Two-Face, but instead of just burns, he's just got the dragon armor on him. I just feel like that would be really cool. Like, you're Aegon just like the other Aegon, but old, original, better Aegon's armor has been burned onto you to remind you how much not as good as an Aegon you are as that Aegon. I definitely said that correctly, and I am not doing a second take. we got a fun little scene with those baby dragons playing with like the baby Targaryens, and I was like, that is super cute. But I also feel like that would be just... That's so dangerous. That's crazy. Also, it's interesting to ponder, are dragons like people where they're not born racist but turned racist by the people around them? Because that baby dragon is only playing with the baby Targaryens, but is that because they push them together and they're like, this is the only baby you're allowed to play with? Or does the dragon just smell something in the Targaryen blood where it's like, that's the baby I'm playing with? What are you looking at me like that for? I'm not racist. Their blood is just more pure and they're better than everyone else. What can I say? That doesn't... Stop looking at me like that. So this week, Budget Daenerys and Lady Littlefinger scheme and hatch a plan to feed the common folk of King's Landing to turn them against the Team Green. And whilst that's actually really, really clever and it's really interesting, I feel like just some of the mechanics of how that happened just confused me. So I'm just wondering, am I the only one that was like, how did the boats get there? There's no one sailing the boats. There's just boats filled with food, and they just push them out into the ocean from Dragonstone and hope they get all the way there. Like, okay, let's just say they do that with 100 boats and like 10 of them make it just by dumb sheer luck. Isn't that just a massive waste of food? I don't know. Just seems very risky and wasteful with the food. Because how many boats didn't make it? How many boats are just like in the middle of the ocean or just capsized? I don't know. It just seems like that wouldn't work at all. Speaking of wasteful, at the start of the riot where all the common folk are like, we're angry because there's no food. It starts with someone throwing food at the Green Queen. He throws a fish. Then I see a couple of cabbages and carrots getting thrown. And whilst the rest of the riot isn't involved with food throwing, it starts with someone who's like, I'm so hungry I could eat a raw fish. And then he throws a raw fish, which he has in his hand, at the Queen. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? Like, I know you're a poor common folk in like medieval times, so like probably not like that clever. Like, I'm not trying to like throw shade. All I'm saying is he's an idiot because he could have eaten that fish and then like maybe thrown a rock. Like, I'm not saying don't throw anything. Maybe just throw something that's not edible when you're complaining that there's nothing to eat. It just seems like he's an idiot, and I don't feel bad for him because he had the thing he wanted. He's like, I really would love a fish to eat, throws the fish at her, and then is like, I'm so hungry, and it's that person's fault. I just feel like you're blaming everyone but yourself. Also, how annoyed, just like, how annoyed would you be if you're a Kingsguard and you like behand that guy and you're like, yeah, let's go. Let's kill some peasant common folk. They don't even have weapons. This is going to be so easy. And then the Queen's like, yeah, like sheath your sword or like you're betraying what I say and we'll have you killed later. And he's like, oh, God damn it. And then he gets overwhelmed by the riot because of course that's what would happen if you don't use your weapon, and they just stab him to death. Just like a rough deal, bro. The Queen's like, oh, I got away. Oh, he died. That's so unfortunate. Maybe my favorite scene of this episode was when the dragon is like chasing that guy. I'll call him bastard number 3, I suppose. And he's running around. He's like, oh my God, dragons are attacking us. This is horrible. And the dragon keeps swooping him like a magpie when you're trying to walk home and the magpie just keeps swooping you and you're like, get away from me. And he's like running around in terror. And I absolutely love the moment where you see like the sky and he's like, where's the dragon? And you see just this little bird flying. And you're like, oh, that's fun. And then the dragon lands. And he's like, I can smell your blood. You got the only good blood. You got that pure Targaryen blood. Ride me. And then he's looking at him like, you can smell my blood? And you think my blood's better than other people's blood? He's like, well, stop making it sound bad. It's actually a beautiful blood bond between us. There's nothing racist about this at all.